To be a champion, you actually have to have a team. People forget about that sometimes when they're complaining on Twitter or on social media. They say, hey, we don't want to finance a stadium or an arena or a ballpark. We don't want any public money going into it. We don't care. And then when the team leaves, they're despondent and they're paid twice as much to get it back because they want the feeling that people in Milwaukee have right now. The politicians want the feeling and the fans want the feeling. And the minute you let a team go, you are guaranteed to spend more to try to get it back. Just go ask Seattle how much they're going to spend to get basketball back in Seattle, how much they spent to get the expansion team, the Kraken, so they could be a major league city again. Ask how much Montreal is willing to do to get baseball again. Ask how much Vancouver would give to get basketball back again. They moved to Memphis. Ask how much Brooklyn would give to get the Dodgers back. Teams have been moving forever. The key, though, is to know when you're right at the edge of losing your team and then keep it. Yesterday in Oakland was a big day for the Oakland A's. A couple of days ago, we did a show where we talked to you about what was going on in Oakland. Maybe we didn't, Coca. I seem to recall discussing the Oakland A's situation and telling you that there was going to be a vote by the Oakland City Council. The Oakland City Council needed to secure a vote, and that vote was meant to keep the team in Oakland. We talked about Rob Manfred saying this vote is the final. And we talked about how Rob Manfred said that Las Vegas is a viable option, and don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself if you think it's not. The president of the Oakland A's, Dave Kaval, gave a bunch of quotes saying, this is it. We're right at the edge of our seat. This deal gets passed, we're good. This deal does not get passed, we're bad. So they went through a commission meeting, reminded me of all the commission meetings I went through back in 2009, 2008, before and after. Politicians negotiating. Negotiating with politicians is not easy because they're scared. They don't want to be embarrassed. People think that we embarrassed the politicians of Miami by doing the deal that we did. They don't understand that we did not. We took advantage of the fact that they wanted the Marlins to stay in Miami. That's what we took advantage of. We did not embarrass them, regardless of whether the mayor was recalled or people were so quick to come out against it. Those same people who were first in line to take pictures with the World Series trophy in 2003, those same people who were first in line to get autographs and meet players, those same people who were first in line to want to know and meet the captain, Derek Jeter. But then when they're asked for money, they say, oh, no, we can't do that. It's frustrating to me because in Oakland, there was a vote yesterday of 6-1 with one abstention. There's 8 people who vote. And the ballpark deal at Harbor Terminal was passed. Congratulations, Oakland. You're keeping your team. Nope, it's not how it works. The way it works when you are dealing with the public and a city commission or county commission meeting is if you're not prepared, then you're not exactly aware of what's going to happen, and you've got to be prepared. And the only excuse to not be prepared is you didn't work hard enough. There is not one politician who sits on the dais during a meeting, during a negotiation, who comes up with a provision to add to a contract that you were not aware of before. And if you were not aware of it before, you weren't paying attention. They don't make it up right at the dais. If they want a 15% affordable housing in your development, they don't make it up and say it's 15% today when the negotiations had always been 10. People can delude themselves when they work for a team and tell your owner everything's going to be okay. We're going to be okay at 10% affordable housing. We're building apartments around the stadium and we only want 10% to be affordable. And all of a sudden we are in the middle of a meeting and it's 15%. Poof. And that changes the economics of the deal. When you have a commission meeting, you meet with every single commissioner, every single council member. You meet not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. You meet multiple times individually with everyone, and you say to them, what is it going to take? Where are you in this negotiation that you don't like? What are your constituents telling you? We heard it all in Miami. We want more minority-owned businesses participating in the construction. We want the ability to unionize the concession workers once the building opens. We want more parks built around Miami by you. We want a guarantee to the community in this way or in that way. None of those were in the deal in the beginning. They get into the deal when you meet the people who are voting on the deal and they ask for things they want and you give what you can give. You then give a little more and then you say, I can't give that. I won't give that. You don't save it for an actual meeting. Neither side does. Because if you put something on the table as a public official that has never been heard of before by the team, and you think the team is going to say yes to it, or you think you're going to be popular when the team leaves because the team says no to it because you know for a fact there's no chance the team's going to say yes to it, and you think you're going to look good, not going to happen. You think a team is going to say yes to something they don't agree to, they've never heard of? No. You think a team is going to ask in the middle of a commission meeting for something they've never asked for before? Get greedy? Try to get more than they've negotiated? No. And do you know why we don't do that? At least no one should do it. I never did it because everything that I asked for in advance, and then I counted votes. So I knew exactly how many votes I needed to pass the ballpark agreements. 9 votes. And I knew exactly who the 9 yes votes were. And I knew exactly how far I could get what I got. And I knew what I couldn't get because of the work I did before. Years of meetings, years, not months, years. Not years of trying to get a ballpark. I'm talking about years of negotiating that specific ballpark deal at the Orange Bowl. The Oakland A's got a deal approved by their council that they don't like and are saying that they were not in favor or aware of the changes, some of these amendments that were put on the table. And that's horse hockey. No matter what they tell you in your community, if you're listening to this in Oakland, we were blown over. We were totally surprised when they asked for X, Y, and Z. Horse hockey. Dave Cavall said there's been progress in the negotiation, the president of the A's. We've moved and made concessions. The city's made concessions, but I think it's important to remember that the current term sheet, even with these amendments, is not something that the A's have consensus around. It's not a term sheet we proposed with edits that we have come together in mutual agreement. I just want you all to know that if you vote yes on something that we don't agree with, that is not an effective path forward. Do you know what the council responded with? If the A's are not happy with what was produced today and are still talking about leaving after the city has bent over backwards and provided some of their best work in the interest of Oakland residents, I don't know where we go from here. After doing somersaults, after receiving insults, after being disrespected, after all the other things Oakland A's fans and Oakland residents have gone through, I don't know where we go from here. If they're still telling us that they are not rooted in Oakland, that they are not willing to accept what the city staff has put together, that's not a negotiation. To say, do what we want or we leave. Okay, we're going to break that down. We're going to break that down. But then the mayor spoke. The mayor called this a milestone in our mission to keep the A's rooted in Oakland and build a world-class waterfront ballpark district that will benefit the community for generations to come. You know what no one talked about? The fact that it was a non-binding agreement that was being voted on, non-binding to either party. Rob Manfred saying this is it. After this, last chance, last and final. A non-binding agreement means that when it is proposed and voted on 6-1 by a council, the Oakland A's do not have to sign it. It is not the final provisions of the agreement. Negotiations can continue. And when you are getting public financing for a public sports facility, you don't get the deal done until your fingernails are falling off the cliff and you're about to fall into the abyss. And that is where we aren't yet. Talking about being at the abyss, talking about being at the end is exactly where we are. And that's what the A's are doing. We're there. We don't see a path forward. Those are magical words that we used right before we got the actual deal, because that's the step right before the end. You need the commissioner to say we're at the end. It's not. You need the team president to say there's no path forward, but there is. You need the public to say we've given all that we can give and we're given no more. We are Shell frickin' Silverstein. We are the given tree and we're out of branches. There's always a stump to sit on. There's a lot more left in this Oakland saga. For you to believe that John Fisher, the owner, and Dave Cavill, the president, are going to Las Vegas today, which they are, and an announcement will be made by Oscar Goldman's wife, who's now the mayor, surrounded by showgirls and all the great casinos. Hip, hip, hooray. We're going to Vegas. We're going to Vegas, baby. I'm not even giving you a wait to see. I already gave you a wait to see that they're not going to move to Vegas. I could double up on it and say they're not going to move to Vegas. I could triple up on it and say they're not moving to Vegas today. I promise you that. Not even if they take the express train from Oakland to Vegas.